Hello everyone, welcome to episode 4 of my Road to Keystone Master series. I'm Diode and today, as usual, I'm gonna take you back a week and tell you the stories of a Sandalari troll druid and his Mythic Plus struggles. As it is custom, by now I do the whole world tour checklist by defeating the world boss, which for another week doesn't drop anything. I take part in the Storm's Fury event, which again gives me nothing except for a few tokens to use later on if I want to. I might need to refocus my priorities and just skip a lot of these activities. I've never talked about this during the recap, but I tried to keep attention on how long it took me to do the whole world tour, and it's actually quite a while. But they do help with aiding the Accord quest in Valdrakken, since it usually requires you to complete one of these scenarios. I also complete a hunt and a Siege of Dragonbane Keep, which was one of the targets for the Accord quest this time. I've been trying to pile up all the rewards to check them out once I'm done with the recap, so after doing all the things, I'm just gonna head to Valdrakken, stand in front of the vault, and I'm gonna roll the intro. Quick question, do you guys enjoy the intro? Do you guys even watch the intro, or do you just skip those 30 seconds because they take you away from the video or something? I personally like including it because I can give you a preview of the dungeons I'll be running, but some of you might skip it because it's too long or boring or whatever, so if you can give me that feedback in the comments below, that'll be greatly appreciated. While you're on that, be sure to subscribe and click the notification bell so you don't miss any new video. Okay, now on with the actual content, and let's check our gear. I got some cloth gloves, some pants, a mace I can use, and some other miscellaneous things. The good stuff comes from the chest I have collected. Opening the Grand Hunt spoils, I get nothing. The Dragonbane Keep strong box though? Oh, I get a nifty 392 unused trinket called the Life Flame Ampule, which is not only a 10 item level upgrade, but a nice upgrade overall because I can now help with some additional healing in group content, which is always nice. On to the Valdrakken treasures, and we get the same trinket, again, like the same one I just got. Well, same item level, same bonuses, so we got a dupe, or as I like to call it, disposable income. The Primalist cache drops elemental stuff as usual, so nothing noteworthy there. And now for the juicy stuff, the thing that gets the views in the YouTube shorts, the vault opening. In it, I get some gloves and a ring. And I choose the gloves because it was the higher item level upgrade, and it has a chance to turn into a tier piece if I use the revival catalyst. Kinda like this, but with a helmet I had, for now, not the gloves. I'm gonna save that for later. The principle is still the same though. With new gear comes the next big responsibility. No, not going to the simulation add-on to see what 0.1% DPS increase I can get. No. I'm talking about the drip. Yeah, look at your boy. I'm looking like a proper level 70 Guardian Druid now, aren't I? Not to flex or anything, but I think I look pretty druidy and kind of awesome. Having the 2-piece set means that I get a new bonus that changes the gameplay a bit for me, since this is what it says. Using Mangle with Gore also deals 30% of damage dealt to nearby enemies, and it also increases my damage done and reduces damage taken by 5% for 6 seconds, which means that I want to use Mangle when powered up by Gore as much as possible to keep that 5% buff rolling. Just in case you don't play Druid and are as confused as I was, Gore is a passive talent in the Guardian tree that grants Thrash, Swipe, Moonfire, and Maul a 15% chance to reset Mangle and make it generate more rage. So the rotation smoothens out because we're now getting a bonus on Gore, which also makes it hit multiple targets, so we don't need to spam Swipe like a madman to keep aggro on group pulls. Okay, class dismissed. Time to actually take this bear for a spin. My first Mythic dungeon this time is Temple of the Jade Serpent. Cool, a new dungeon. Finally. This week's affixes also changed and now I have to contend with Fortified, Sanguine, Volcanic, and the Seasonal Thundering. 2 of these are new and I will have to learn on how to deal with them through practice, but to do that I need to step inside a dungeon. I put together a ragtag group consisting of a priest healer whom I brought for dispel usage, a druid for any upgrade piece they don't need, and a rogue because we can all count on a pug road to use Shroud of Concealment for some mob skips. Right? Right? First pulls were a wake up call in Sanguine and the importance of positioning. Sanguine does damage to you, heals the enemy mobs, and makes them stronger, so Sanguine equals bad. These water elementals apply Tainted Ripple, which is a damage over time ability that hits everybody in your party. If I'm not mistaken, priests can mass dispel these, so if you're a priest, keep your eye out. If you're tanking, just do what you did with the enforcers back in Court of Stars and with the Fell Detonation mechanic. It's the same thing, just tank them through the corner so they don't hit your group. This is something I personally enjoy from this group. Look at the evoker here, and remember how in the previous episode I said that people should really know their class so they could utilize their abilities to a better potential? Well, look at this. I'm struggling to keep the mobs grouped up, so what does the evoker do? They fly into the pack, position themselves to my right, and push the adds into me so they could be AoE down by the group. That is good group play and what you should be doing when joining other groups. The first boss in this place is Wise Mari. If you coordinate with your group, the Hydro Lance cast can be interrupted almost completely every single time. The most important thing that you want to look out for during this fight is the pulsating water in the pools around you. It counts down 3 times before exploding on the 4th. This does a lot of damage and sends whomever it hits flying, taking more damage as they come down. So keep your camera down at the waters and count down the explosions so you're in a safe area when it erupts. The second mechanic is called Washed Away. During this phase, Wise Mari just spins around slowly, shooting a powerful water beam that you can easily avoid by walking around the arena and not getting hit by it. Remember, also keep an eye down for the exploding waters. The third mechanic targets a DPS player or the healer with a water ring, which you have to move out and far away from the group to avoid hitting them with the pool that spawns from it. Keep the dance around the fish and this fight should be easily doable. I call on my rogue to skip these 2 pandas, which do a lot of damage with their torches. We managed that, but then people forget they have an interrupt button and the whole group starts getting chain feared and put to sleep by the fish. I try my best to stay alive and avoid having to reset this whole fight, but I end up getting feared into the pandas and we wipe. I use my incomparable word skills to explain my thought process for these next fights. Interrupts, very good. More DPS when not dead? Great success. Laugh if you will, but you know what? It worked. We go in and un-kung fu these pandas, we deal with the fish, the bird, the monkey, the tiger, and the bug, and move down to the next boss. This time we must deal with Strife and Peril. The fight is fairly straightforward. Just alternate between targets after a few stacks so you don't activate their immunity shield and you should be fine. The next pulls are simple, just pull the mobs back to your position and away from the other adds so you don't accidentally pull too much. Be sure to interrupt and move away from the leg sweep and the sanguine pulls. This next pull was a bit horrible on my part. I pulled the mobs behind the statue and out of line of sight of the healer and the rest of the DPS, so no interrupts could be casted and no one could be healed. Always be aware of where you are in relation to your group to avoid situations like this. Next boss, again, on this level, Straightforward as they come, just bring their HP to 0 and keep yours above the same threshold. Once I get into the final groups, I like to pull them away from each other and into the corners. That way I have less risk of accidentally putting an extra pack. I can keep Sanguine on check and the group doesn't have to manage many interrupts at a time. This last group is a pain to deal with though, even more so if you have a conservative group. There are a lot of things going on at the same time. A lot of ground swirlies, casts, summons, AoE, just to name a few. So don't be stingy. Use your cooldowns, clear the pack, and don't worry, the final boss isn't that scary. At least at this level, the Shadow of Doubt is a simple tank and spank fight, just like it was on normal and heroic back in Pandaria. Stack the group for the shadow phase, you can AoE the shades down quickly and get back on the boss until you defeat it. We get some nice pants here and a new key. Oh no. Before heading into the dreaded no-code offensive, I go back to the revival catalyst to get myself some new set pieces. If I'm going back to that place, I'm going in with everything I can, and that means a 4-set baby! Now, adding on to my 2-set bonus of Mangle being upgraded into an AoE and above, Gore now has a 5% increased chance to trigger and giving Mangle a healing over time effect every time I use the proc. So now every time I go into a dungeon and I proc the effect, I can just... It's no secret that I both hate and dread this dungeon, but the key demands it be completed and so it shall. Though you'll see how different this group was and how differently I played when compared to my first run of this place. One of the main differences is the actual use of communication. The Paladin asks that we focus down the patrols in the first area so we don't have to suffer a surprise pull. We do that with the Evoker, again being a pro and pushing mobs into me and outside of the Sanguine pools. All 3 lance groups are quickly dealt with and the boss descends into the arena. This time I do have the video proof of the fight. This group quickly goes into work on the saboteurs while I keep the boss attention and the hunter gets into position to shoot the lance once the boss begins casting eruption to stun it and avoiding a wipe. First boss down with no trouble at all and we fly to the next area where we fight the Sappy Boys. We fly to the next area where we fight the Sappy Boys. Okay, much better. After the area around the boss is clear, you charge in and remember the balls. Grab the balls, caress the balls, be the balls, beat the boss. This next part on the graveyard is terrifying. As I stated in our previous episode, which you should totally go watch if you're really watching this one out of order for some reason, there are a lot of mobs stacked together which, as we've seen, is super fun during Sanguine weeks. Added to that is the whole deal with having to interrupt, move out of AoE, dodge directional attacks, grab your spirit as a DPS, and more stuff that just keeps piling on. Wait, I thought this was gonna be a mess. What's going on? Am I actually doing this with players who know what they're doing? Am I learning how to play? Nah, I don't believe it. Let's just skip to the boss that was such a mess the last time. Wait. The bosses are stacked. The players are dodging around the ground stuff. They're moving and dodging tornadoes, avoiding the fear, cleaving the bosses? This fight went so smoothly compared to the last time. We even have time to go around and clear a few packs for extra percentage. You guys watching this have been dropping down some useful comments on my other videos, so thank you all for the help. Now if you could tell me, from what you've seen in previous videos, am I improving? Or am I just getting carried by other players? I'm honestly curious to know because I'm not such a good judge of character myself. Well, what can I tell you? If that fight was super easy, the last boss is barely an inconvenience. The players know what they're doing, they're moving out of AoE, they're dodging the charge, they're cleaving down the adds during the transition phase, interrupts are going out, and the boss is getting demolished. We defeat Balakar and actually time the key. Who would have thought that communication would have been so effective? I even get an upgrade from the dungeon chest, so nice! The last dungeon of the session was a +11 Jade serpent. It's literally the same dungeon I started the night with, so I won't go into many details. I noticed now during editing that I stacked my group with leather classes. This wasn't intentional. And in the end there was no tradable loot to pass around, so I didn't take any advantage of it. I just found it really funny. I want to take this downtime in the video where I don't have much to say about the dungeon itself to thank each and every one of you that has subscribed, left a comment and joined me along this journey. My channel has never seen this much activity, and seeing all the numbers turn green, the graphs go up, and people leaving comments and having conversations down in the comment section with me or other viewers really cheers me up, because I've always tried my hand at this YouTube thing with the wrong mindset. I always try to hop on trends, I tried to cash in quickly and had the YouTube dream of making it big with a viral video and being set for life. In reality, I just had to take a step back and try to have things come naturally. I started this challenge after watching a few videos from other creators and thought it would be a nice change of pace for myself to get back into making videos as a hobby and getting back into WoW to set a goal in game and play instead of running LFR with alts every weekend, then logging out. Patch 10.0.7 is coming next week, and with it, a bunch of changes to the game, a new area to explore and more things to do. Once I finish this video series, I might go for ahead of the curve and try to defeat Heroic Razageth before 10.1 hits and Season 2 begins. The series will pick back up on 10.1 though, where I plan to switch a new character and see the game from a different perspective, but I have a long way to go till then. If the channel manages to get 1,000 subs before 10.1, I will be using the community tab to post polls about upcoming series, and see that? The boss is already defeated, the key got upgraded to +2 and all is good. I ended with 13 Ruby life pools that I won't be able to play because my time ran out on the day, but I did get a few upgrades, played some keys with some cool people, and now I look like a proper Druid with 384 gear, which might not be impressive to anyone, but it's a goal that I had never achieved before and I'm happy to be where I'm at. From now on, I can only get better gear, better knowledge, better ingredients, better pizza, better drops on the vault. See you guys on reset day.